Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's show. It's kind of exciting. I'm looking forward to this one, actually. How's everybody doing this week?
Go ahead, Linda.
I'm good. Thank you. I'm finally getting sleep after last weekend's investigation, so I'm catching up on my sleep. So it's good.
Oh,
nice
yeah.
and busy. Yeah, nice and busy. It's great. How about you?
Oh, doing good. Well, here in Alberta, now that it's the May long weekend, we were all excited about it. When I say we were all excited about it, I mean us as probably a city in general, like where people are looking forward to camping and boating and fishing or doing whatever they do. I was looking forward to doing my backyard, my gardening, and my son's not thrilled because I have him hauling crap all over the place. But that's okay. That's what they're for, right? That's why we bred children. No, I'm just
I can't wait till I have my own. My kids get their own house. I'm going to do the same thing to theirs.
I know, right?
I'm just going to walk in and just take all my clothes and just throw them over here.
Yeah.
Throw it over there.
Exactly.
Start kicking holes in the wall.
Yeah.
The dishes by the sink.
Make all kinds of noise, like at weird hours of the night and all kinds of stuff. But it's full of smoke here in Alberta. So we've had.
No, it's not. All your smoke is coming to Boise, believe it or not. We've got it all down
right?
here.
Yeah, it was so bad. Actually, our air quality right now is 10 plus. So that means basically we were on a scale. So, out of 15, let's say, cities around the world, we were number 15 as worst air quality. One of our little towns, Drayton Valley, was actually number 2. There was another one that was like 5 or 6. Edmonton was 15 on this scale of whatever it goes to from 1 to, whatever. But so our air quality just sucked. and you couldn't, and it was funny because you're waking up and you're like, and itchy eyes and the whole bit. And of course, I don't have air conditioning myself. Some people do. But you have to have the window open because it's also 30 degrees out here. So it's boiling hot. And on top of it, we've got the smoke. So you're kind of like, okay, do I open the window and, breathe in toxic air, or do I close the window and I'll just turn into a puddle here on my couch? I'm not, either one. It doesn't matter.
Okay, time out. Hold on, Kathy. Don't you smoke?
I quit.
Oh, you did? Oh, good for you. I was going to say, because
I kind of
toxic smoke.
I know. So that's the funny part, right? Is that
right, Trevor?
It's like I quit smoking for it to get all smoky for me to breathe in the smoke, right? And I quit a few months back now.
You did.
Yeah, and
awesome.
So for this to happen, I was like, bloody hell!
I'm proud of you. I didn't realize that. Good job. Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel great. Actually, I feel really like it's amazing. I've complained to Linda a few times about different things. You know what I mean? But it's getting better. It was hard, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to really be. To be honest, there was days where I was like, nobody wanted. My son was just like, I'm going to move. but it really was about the mindset, not to take away from anything from the show or anything like that, but it really was the mindset, because at one point I said, you know what, if I want to, I could just pick up a smoke and go have a smoke. The only one that's really stopping me from smoking is me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really. So if I want to have a smoke, I'm going to go and down. We'll have a smoke. I'm an adult. I can do what the frick I want. You can't stop me. You know what I mean? So once I got into that mindset, realizing that if I wanted to have one, I could just go have one, I realized I really didn't want one.
Good.
And then I was like, oh, okay, well, that was stupid. So I really don't want one anyway. But I can have one if I want one, because I'm an adult and I can make these choices on my own. Nobody's telling me I can't do it. But I really don't want one. So
I wish I could have figured that out about 2 kids in. I could have stopped having kids at any time. Just me, it was, I went all the way up to 6 and I just couldn't stop. It was terrible.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have? Seriously?
I have 6 kids.
Oh my God, 6 kids, like the Brady.
Well, the last 4 are plotting his, making sure his will's up to date and plotting.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, jokes on them. I ain't got any money. Just they're welcome to it.
Oh,
you know what's funny though is I haven't coughed in months, like, you know, and I mean, one of the reasons that I did quit was because we were going to Florida and I knew I was going to be doing tons of walking and all of that, and I thought, first of all, I don't want to be stuck in an airport where I'm like twitching out for a cigarette, you know what I mean? And I can't go have one. And I end up on an episode of Border Patrol or something. And that was my main motivation. But also too, is like, I can't walk, you know, like if you're going to be doing that much walking, you got to be I'm in pretty good health other than that, but you do notice it when you're a smoker, that you're not walking. And I mean, I tell you, I had no problem keeping up, like 7 days straight. We went from 7 a.m. until like 10 p.m. Walk. That's all we did.
You're richer too, because you're not spending all that money on cigarettes too. So
for sure. Yeah. Thanks. How are you, Trevor? How are you doing besides, you know, your regret of children?
It's not. I guess it's not. It's too late to regret that, I guess. But no, doing pretty good. I've been doing good. Except, you know, and we're going to segue into the whole topic of today. But it was kind of early in the week and I'd heard about this before, and you know, but I didn't realize as deep of a rabbit hole that this really is. And, you know, it always started out with, you know, somebody asked me a question about something. I said, well, it's this. And they are like, no, it's not. And I'm like, nah, I'm pretty sure. And well, what I'm referring to is a thing called the Mandela Effect. And it came about when somebody came to me and asked me about a logo. It was the Fruit of the Loom logo.
Oh, okay? Yeah.
Can everybody to think about the Fruit of the Loom logo? Okay. Does anybody else picture the fruit with the cornucopia?
All the time. That's the way I remember it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it is, right? That's the logo.
That's what it is.
Apparently it's not.
Oh, okay.
There is no cornucopia in the Fruit of the Loom logo. And I'd show you. I don't know that I could get it to show on my phone screen or not, but and so I started going nuts because I'd heard about this thing called the Mandela Effect. And we'll get into, you know, why it's called that and everything like that. But like I said, this is deep. This is kind of crazy, and it's kind of a mind bender, and it's been driving me insane all week long. So because I think people are thinking, everybody else is thinking I'm crazy. I keep coming up to them and it's like, have you ever heard of this? Yeah. What do you think of this? And it's shocking, the answers that you get, and everybody believes the same thing, that the Fruit of the Loom logo has a cornucopia, believe it or not. So, but it doesn't. So it's been keeping me up at night.
Oh no.
Yes.
I didn't realize actually just downloading it now, so that we can just take a quick look at it, and it'll just take me.
While you're doing this, I'm going to tell Sean Nielsen, you got it, bro. You can quit smoking too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, well, let me talk a little bit about the Mandela Effect. So most people remember Nelson Mandela, okay? And there was a paranormal investigator, and I can't remember if she was in a conference or how they even got on this subject. But she started talking about Nelson Mandela and how, you know, remembering back in school where she learned that he died in prison in 1980, in the early 80s. And, you know, and even to the fact that she remembers the funeral being broadcast, and his wife giving this, this heartfelt speech and stuff to the people from Johannesburg, or I think it was Johannesburg. And she also found out that was like a common belief amongst a lot of her peers. In fact, she even set up a website where people could come in and weigh in on it, and found that people from all over the world had this same memory. Well, the fact of the matter is that Nelson Mandela died in 2013 in his home, not in 1980 in prison. But people really thought that, or they had that memory. I mean, even learning it in school. I remember him dying in prison, or I remember being told he died in prison.
Right.
So this is why it became known as the Mandela Effect, coined by this paranormal investigator Fiona Broome in 2009. So that's kind of what we're talking about today. And Kathy brought up the Fruit of a Loom logo.
I remember it. Yeah, I remember it as the one with the cornucopia.
It looks like, yeah, to me, it's the one on the left all day long. That's the one that looks right to me, but the correct logo is the one on the right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I thought it was the left.
Yep. So we're going to look at a bunch of these today, and we're going to see what our viewers think, and we're going to talk a lot about this. I think the different theories that go into this.
I think one of the more famous one is this one right here, Berenstain and Berenstein, right? Now, I mean, I used to read these to my kids all the time. My daughter loved the Berenstain books.
Well, when I was a kid, I had the book series myself. A lot of them there was a book series. It was called the I Can Read series, and they had all sorts of children's stories. And that was one of them. And I definitely, for me, it was the one on the left, Berenstain, all day long.
Berenstein for sure.
The Berenstain Bears. That's how I remember it. Linda, how about you?
Okay, so probably just because I was in publishing. But no, I remember it as the Berenstain Bears. Totally. Because I used to work for Scholastic, and we used to sell a ton of Berenstain Bears. So I remember Stain, but a lot of people I know, even friends of mine, disagree with me.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Right.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. So understand that. So the Mandela Effect, when we're talking about these misconceptions or these, I don't know, false memories, it's not just one or two people. It's not just a few people that have these same falsehoods or same false memories. It is a swath. It is a large group of people, a large group of the population that, for whatever reason, and it's not like we have different ideas like, oh, well, it was EI or it was IE or it was AI. It's like, no, it was EI. Everybody remembers the cornucopia being there. Everybody remembers it's Bernstein, not Bernstein. It's super weird how that.
Well, and this one is the one that really upset me.
Probably the one that upsets most people. Oh no, never mind.
Sex in the City. No,
I was thinking something else.
I remember. So, back in the day, I used to work several jobs. I was single. I just saved money. That's really all I did. I worked and saved money, and I took one night a week. That was for me. So God help the person that phoned when I was watching one of my shows. If I was dating someone, they were no longer a date. They're stricken from the roster of my life. No, seriously, because I had one, like I worked so much, like it was mostly for me. Like I was, I saved a ton of money, right? But I had this one night, and it was like, this is what I'm watching, and Sex in the City was part of that roster of TV shows that I watched, and it was Sex in the City. I do not remember Sex in the City. I remember watching this.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't even a fan of that show. I mean, it just wasn't my show, but I remembered it. I always heard it or remember seeing it as Sex in the City.
Sex in the City. It was Sex in I know it.
Yeah, I know. It's true. I remember that too. Because I never watched it, but
yeah.
And here's another one.
It was Sex in the City for sure.
The correct answer is Sex
and
in the City.
Linda.
Not
and they're in. Are you saying and or in?
No, I remember it as Sex in the City.
Yeah.
Weird. Weird.
Yeah. Here's another one. And this one is another one that really upsets me because I spent thousands of dollars on this damn stuff.
Oh wait, do it again. Oh gosh, here we go. Pikachu.
Pikachu.
So which one is the correct one? The one on the left or the one on the right? So we got one that had
What do you think?
the black on the tail and no brown at the. See the one on it's got to be the one on the left because the one on the right looks like that brown spot's a little too close to his bone. So
I remember the black on the tail. You know what?
I think it's the black on the tail. I wasn't super into Pokemon.
No, it's not.
It looks
It is not. Which blows my mind because again, I mean, I think most of my kids' college fund went toward, Pokemon cards. And I had to sit through, I don't even know how many freaking Pokemon movies and video games, and it's endless. So it is the black. It is the black is not right. That is
my life is a lie.
Isn't that wild, hey?
So weird.
Yeah. Dan says people are claiming that Ed McMahon didn't do Publishers Clearinghouse. Ed himself remembered giving the awards, but the claim is now he never did. See, I remember seeing pictures. I remember him going to people's houses and knocking on the door. I remember that from, and now they're saying, and Ed himself is saying that he remembered giving the rewards, but now they're saying, nope, that never happened. So it's almost like you're screwing with.
I'm looking that one up because I hadn't heard that one before, but I am 99.9% sure Ed McMahon did do that. So
yeah, I remember that as a kid too. 100%. I remember that.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And I mean, we definitely, my dad used to have.
Oh my gosh. It does come up. So I typed into Google Ed McMahon Publisher Clearinghouse, and the first thing that comes up is Mandela Effect.
There you go.
Son of a gun.
Yeah.
What is happening? What, this explains a lot, yeah, I don't know.
So how about this one? Here's one for you. This is maybe more Linda and my time, but let's see here. Let's see.
Hold on here.
Linda, which one is right?
I'm going to say the one on the right is right. And the only reason I say that is because I remember doing a project in grade 3, and I was obsessed with the Flintstones. And I remember doing FLINTSTONES, but thinking I was wrong.
Okay. My son had a good point on this because I actually, to be honest, I think I was too young to really remember how, where it was spelt. You know what I mean? Because we watched it in elementary school. I don't know how much time, how much I really paid attention to that. Right.
Right.
It was the lunchtime go-to. I mean, you come home from school, you eat your soup, and you watch the Flintstones.
Yeah.
That's what you did. That's what you did every day. And Monday to Friday, and my son had a good point because we were talking about this today, and he said, but he goes, Mom, think about it. Flint, back in the days, they had to use flint so cavemen would have used flint. So maybe that's a good way to think about it. So even though
it makes sense. I think everybody pronounced it Flintstones, which sounds right, but when I look at it, reading it, the one on the left looked right because of the way it sounds, but it makes total sense that it would be the one on the flint because flint is a type of stone. So but it still looks weird to me. It doesn't look right when I look at flint stones. So I don't know.
Yeah. I didn't I guess I don't really remember putting too much thought into it, but I did see that today and I thought that's one of the things I'm going to bring up.
I know what Dan's talking about. We're going to get into that. Don't worry, Dan.
Okay.
I'm on it.
I didn't know what he was talking about on there. He says CURN. We'll do another one here. This one here. No need.
Yeah. I looked this one up too. This one was funny because
Linda, what do you think?
Yeah, I swear. You know what? I swear it was TOONS. I swear it was Looney Tunes, like cartoon, right?
Right. Which makes sense.
It does make sense. Total sense.
your childhood is a lie. It's not.
Where was
I did this quiz with the guys at the fire station, and they were losing their minds too. They were like, no, this can't be. I mean, we're all on Google. No, this has to be, you know.
Right?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. That's a weird one. That blew my mind.
There was actually quite a few for Walt Disney, which like for instance, and this one I know is wrong. Because I watched, so every week, was it Saturday night, I think, or Friday or Sunday night, one of those. It was, Disney had a show every Sunday or Saturday night,
right,
whatever.
Yeah, The Wonderful World of Disney, right?
Wonderful World of Disney.
And it says, did Tinkerbell ever dot the I in the Disney intro? Or did it ever have Tinkerbell?
Yes.
So, right, because
every single one, she flew over the castle and she had a little wand and it made a little firework explosion thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's saying that didn't happen.
They're liars.
Yeah, they're liars. They're liars. Liars.
Yes, it did. Every episode had Tinkerbell fly over.
I don't think that one is right. Like, I think, here's the thing is that I think it's easy to, try to screw. I mean, we just went through 3 years of the people trying to screw with our heads, right? So, I mean, how easy is it for her?
Maybe that's part of it. Maybe this whole alternate reality thing is a thing, and that's why things are going the way they're going. I don't know. So.
Exactly. Like it was, it's too easy to plant a seed and have everybody believing in that seed, right? So
yeah,
who's to know? I mean, maybe some of the things that we thought we remembered as being true, and people are saying no, it's not. Maybe in reality they really were true because
and that's just it. I mean, so I said, I dove into this a little bit and tried to understand what was going on, and I was looking on. There's like whole psychology papers that are dedicated to this, and talking about how it's kind of like. Just the way the human brain works, we pick up on certain details and eliminate others. And so like 70% of the time, we are not remembering things correctly. Basically what they're saying is the human memory sucks. Mm-hmm. And I kind of can sort of get that, but I mean, again, it's like if we're getting an answer wrong or we're not remembering a certain thing correctly, I think most people might have even a variation of those memories. But with this, we're all remembering the same wrong things, the same wrong details, which is super weird. And even the psychology paper couldn't really explain that, other than they'd say, if the best course of action is to, look it up. And if you think you're remembering something and you want to know for sure, well, look it up. Well, that's all well and good, except the other theory that somehow we've slipped into an alternate reality. So looking something up in this alternate reality, of course, it's going to confirm what we know is wrong,
right.
And so, and it's funny because they said they can't, the alternate reality or the alternate dimension is actually a plausible a theory or a plausible reasoning for the Mandela effect because it can't be disproven. You can't really prove it yet, but it can't be disproven. So it has to be so it's an argument for it. So it is pretty weird. So one of the theories that I found was that this starts going back to the whole 2012 thing. We talked about the Mayan calendar, and the December 21st, 2012 is when the Mayan calendar ended, and everybody, well, not everybody, but it was believed that would be the end of the world. Some great apocalypse was going to happen, cataclysmic events, the world was going to end. So the theory is, well, so apparently there's a large group of people that actually remember an apocalyptic event happening on December 21st of 2012, and the world actually ended. And the cataclysmic event was so great that somehow it shifted our consciousness into a different dimension that was so much like the original where we came from, with
Right.
some slight variations and differences, which is where the whole Mandela effect comes from, which is why we can remember Ed McMahon doing Publishers Clearinghouse, which is why we remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison. But in this universe, it didn't happen that way. So that is one of the theories. Now, the problem with that theory is that the Mandela effect was actually discovered and coined in 2009.
Right.
So 3 years prior to this cataclysmic event. So, does that mean it didn't happen? I don't know. I just think that there's kind of a little bit of it's kind of weird that, I don't know. The other thing is it goes along with string theory, from Einstein's string theory, and about different layers of universes, talking about the multiverse and things like that, and how we kind of intertwine and sometimes will bounce between these different realities that are running parallel to our own. And a lot of the stuff is really difficult to grasp and is kind of out there, but it makes you wonder. So Dan on our comments keeps bringing up CERN. CERN is a big particle accelerator where they do a lot of experiments about trying to. So it's like a nuclear test type experimentation site where they collide subatomic particles, the hadron collider. And the other theory is that they actually tore a hole in space time, or they opened up an alternate dimension. And that we're kind of, once again, it's kind of that whole string theory. We're kind of being sucked in, just kind of bouncing around between these realities. I'm not a real big expert on dimensional travel or alternate realities, but something weird is going on with this. And I'm curious to know what your opinions are.
I don't know if I have one on that, to be honest.
I told you, it's a deep rabbit hole. I mean, this is it just kind of spirals. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of examples of these Mandela effect issues. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So, from movie quotes, to
movie
logos,
quotes,
to all sorts of, and again, like, once again, movie quotes, it's like, okay, well, we'll remember.
Luke, I am your father.
Is it Luke? Yeah, so that's a big one. Yeah, it's like, Luke, I am your father. So many people remember that being said, Luke, I am your father, and the actual quote is, no, I am your father, and so,
yeah.
But everybody gets that quote wrong, but they get it wrong the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. It's like Freddie Mercury and that whole thing of, we are the champions, of the world. Well,
the world.
I remember him singing that, but apparently he didn't.
He doesn't sing that?
Apparently not.
At the end of the song is when he adds in "of the world."
Yeah.
But that's it.
Right.
But not during the song.
Okay. I was like, I know he sings "of the world" at some point. Yeah. So that's
well, here's one for you. You're gonna need a bigger boat. We need a bigger boat.
Oh yeah. Jaws?
Yeah.
God, that's tough. We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Nope. You're gonna need a bigger boat. Nope.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
And the funny part is, my biggest fear, and probably one of them, one of my biggest phobias, sharks. Like, I literally go into like. But I do watch these shows. I do watch the shark shows to try to get over my fear.
Really?
Not that I'm ever going to go cuddle with a shark anytime soon or go into the ocean to swim with one, but it's for me, just to work through my phobia. But so I've seen Jaws. I can repeat almost every line to you so many times, right? But I thought it was, we're going to need a bigger boat.
Me too. That's what I thought.
Did. Yeah, I thought it was, we're going to need a bigger boat, but you're going to need a bigger boat. And it's funny because it was actually my son that said, "No, Mom, it's you're going to need a bigger boat." He goes, I know this from the movie. I know this. from the movie.
That's
And I'm
so
like,
weird.
how do you remember that? But I'm remembering something completely different. So yeah, it's,
That's really weird. I mean, I'm wondering if it's because, we are in the age of the meme, right? And people make mistakes. I mean, we're human.
Yeah.
Maybe people have just misquoted for so long and have made these memes, and we're subjected to them over time that we remember this, and we sort of take it into our collective consciousness, and we remember it differently. And that's, I don't know, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I have no idea.
This, and that was brought up in the paper that I read, and talked about social media and the influence it has. It's a great source of information, but it's also a great source of misinformation. It is and that can be something of it. Once one thing is said and it starts to kind of spread, I can kind of understand that. But a lot of this stuff has been going on for so long, kind of really before the time of social media getting out there. Having memories of being taught in school and things like that doesn't come over social media. It's not something that's that's being kind of pushed as information. Remembering Ed McMahon doing Publishing Clearinghouse. You remember him walking up and knocking on the doors. That's not something that you're seeing on the internet. Stuff like that, but it is weird when you're showing a box of Fruit Loops, for example. Do you have that one, Kathy?
Yeah, I don't know if I put that one. I was actually trying to find that one. And
the Fruit Loops one.
I did get the GIF or the Jiffy one.
It used to be Jiffy, didn't it?
Apparently not.
It was Jiffy Peanut Butter like a long time ago, and then they shortened it to Jif, I thought.
Apparently not. Apparently people got Jif and Skippy mixed together.
Wait, what?
Yeah. That is the new theory. Yeah.
Okay, so that blows my mind.
Yeah, apparently Jiffy did not exist.
Oh my God.
From what they're saying, I'm not a Jiffy person. I've never used that peanut butter.
I know about Skippy peanut butter. I could have sworn like it used to be called Jiffy, and I know it's called Jif now. I thought they just shortened it.
Yeah, apparently not.
My head hurts.
Right?
That's crazy.
That's so weird.
Crazy. You're right. I'm looking at it. I'm going, no.
Well, even saying it out loud sounds correct. Yeah, it used to be called Jiffy Peanut Butter, and then it was Jif. And there's Skippy Peanut Butter.
Apparently, they did not do that. And it makes me wonder, like I said, there's these things that you remember. Same with this one here.
Oh, this one.
I remember the monocle.
This one drives me crazy.
Yeah. Because I do remember this. I do remember this quite clearly.
100% monocle. Everything. He has a monocle. Yes. Yes, he does. He does.
But apparently he doesn't?
There is no monocle and never has been, according to this weird, stupid universe. So I want to go back to my reality where the monocle is there. And all will be right. So... it was great because one of the guys that I work with, I kind of showed him a lot of this stuff in this quiz, and he's like, I'm going to take this home to my wife because she's like, she knows, she's super smart. She's one of those people who knows everything, remembers everything. And she got 9 out of 10 of them wrong too. And apparently like, it was a big deal to her. Like, she was, no, there's a monocle. There's definitely a she was losing her mind over it as well. So yeah, it's a thing.
That's bizarre.
I remember the monocle. I remember. I
do too. But okay, so the other one that has a monocle is Mr. Peanut, right?
Yeah, Mr. Peanut has a monocle.
So
maybe
did they get them
anymore? I don't know.
Between Mr. Peanut,
maybe he's lost his monocle. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe Mr. Peanut stole the monocle from the Monopoly guy, Mr. Moneybags.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. That's the weirdest thing. Well, okay, so here's something to kind of put the icing on the cake. So one of my friends who is a clairvoyant said something which you sort of alluded to, the whole idea of that space and time and all of that has kind of been screwed with, which is why, of course, we're having issues remembering. She said something very interesting the other day. She said she was driving, and it's almost like space and time kind of stopped. And it's really interesting because that's kind of happened to me a couple of times. I remember waking up at like 2 a.m. and looking out the window, and it was like, what a strange place this is. Almost like I didn't even recognize where I lived, because there was no breeze. It looked like something out of a postcard. And it was just very odd for a good, what I consider to be like 10 seconds, which is quite a long period of time. And then all of a sudden there was a breeze and everything was right. And there were, animals and people. It was just kind of odd that when I looked out of the window, it was just kind of there, but nothing was going on. And it's always busy on my street. Even at 2 o'clock in the morning, we've got all kinds of stuff happening on our street. We've got commuters, people that work shift work. But it was really weird. And when she said that to me, that she was driving and it was almost as if time stopped and there were no cars and everything was kind of odd. And then boom, it was back again. I thought, all right, so this has something to do with all of this.
Well, so, and that kind of, we had our paranormal team meeting yesterday, and I brought this up because, again, like I said, this has been occupying my mind, and so I kind of brought up this whole idea to them and their thoughts on it. And one of my team members, Sharif, she gave me a great example, and she talked about what she called the Swiss cheese effect. You ever heard of I'd never heard of this. This was new for me, the Swiss cheese effect. So you think about a chunk of Swiss cheese, not just a slice, but a chunk of Swiss cheese that you start slicing, okay? And then you got those holes. Well, the holes don't go straight down, right? They might curve, they might kind of do this thing. So you start slicing away, or you start going down, and it starts to kind of change directions. It's not really a straight line. So when we talk about like things like time stoppage or deja vu was a great example. Slipping through these into these other realities, these other universes, we're hitting a different point, just slightly different point in time, maybe because it's really not a straight shot. And so maybe that, things like that, all of a sudden time seems like it stopped, or you have that deja vu moment. It's like, oh, wait a minute, this just happened, and I thought that was a pretty interesting way to put it. It was actually kind of a cool thought. And there was a kid that did a video about, he was talking more a lot about like dimensions and what the fourth dimension looks like and things like that. And he kind of alluded to kind of the same thing, how dimensions are built of layers, infinite layers. So like the two-dimensional world has an infinite number of one-dimensional layers to it. And then the three-dimensional world has an infinite amount of two-dimensional layers in it, and so on and so forth. And the fourth dimension would be, that with the and so, the whole layer thing is pretty interesting, which also kind of goes along with string theory. And it's, man, somebody needs to figure this stuff out so I can start sleeping again at night, because I'm telling you, my mind is just reeling with all this stuff. It is absolutely consuming, my thoughts, and it's driving me insane. So, because I got other things that I need to be thinking about.
Can you imagine if you're a physicist and that's like basically you'd be out of your mind trying to figure all of this crap out all day long.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just.
And then somebody comes along and goes, I don't know, what is the Mandela theory? And you're like,
how much time do you have? Because we're gonna sell. Yeah, monocle or no monocle? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really weird. That's really weird. I don't know. And the whole Nelson Mandela thing. I mean, okay, so I remember. I'm gonna say it was in the 80s. There was this song. Remember, "Free Nelson Mandela"? Remember that song? You might not remember it, Trevor, but I remember it.
I don't remember that song, but I remember it being a big deal back then. So
Yeah.
I
And
remember hearing a lot about it.
yes, and I do remember that song. It got a lot of airplay. It was sort of the sort of theme song for apartheid. I mean, it was really a big deal. But I honestly, I really did think that he passed, and I didn't think that he was alive until 2013. When you mentioned it and I started looking up the whole Mandela effect, I thought, okay, so he was in jail. That song came out. I'm going to say like 1984-ish. But then I thought he passed in jail. I really did. So like,
Yeah.
I'm not alone in this. I mean, if there's if there's a Mandela effect, obviously I'm not alone in this, because I was as shocked as everybody else when I thought, really? He passed in 2013? Because Winnie, that was his wife, I think, right? Winnie Mandela.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds right.
I do remember, like, for some reason, I do remember her and a funeral or something. I don't know. It's just, okay.
Yeah,
So
I seem to remember her speaking at the funeral. She gave a speech, and that's what the claim. At least that's what the claim of the memories are. But that's kind of how that's how I
okay,
learned it too.
yeah, I just want to know what reality I'm living in, because I don't know.
All I know is I'd like to go back to where the monocle was still on the Monopoly guy, because and there's because I mean things seem more normal.
Well, okay, so interesting. My husband said something interesting today. He said, all right, so when I was a kid, I listened to Born to Run, Springsteen, and I loved it so much because there were strings in it. And I said, excuse me? He said, yeah, like strings, like a orchestral type thing.
Right.
And he said, and I remember that in the actual first version, 1975. I listened to it. I wanted it because it had strings. I thought it was really cool. And then he said it was remastered, I guess, and there are no strings. I thought, well, I don't remember there being strings in that particular I don't remember there being strings in Born to Run, but he swears that there were. And other people that are as crazy about music as he is swears too that there are strings. I don't know. I have no idea. Is this another?
Not find the original version anymore, or is it?
Don't know.
That's the problem where we are. If it's true that we're in an alternate reality, if you go back and find the original version in this reality, there won't be strings. That's the problem.
Right.
That's the hiccup.
Right.
That was the whole. That was what made me chuckle about the paper that I read. Here's the solution. Go look it up. Go back and see. Well,
yeah,
if
you can't.
we're in a different reality, then we can't, because we got to go back to the reality where that actually happened. It's weird to think about. Because we typically talk about ghosts and things like that, but this really kind of correlates to that as well. As far as we talk about how in string theory dimensions are kind of we're like bouncing off of them, or we're in and out of them, or something like that. And if we are running a parallel with another dimension, and we are so close to that, maybe that has something to do with some of the paranormal activity that we can encounter, some of the voices that that we pick up, and things like that. But it's so hard to get a grasp on what that means, or how that even works. I'm just kind of it's baffling to me. So
it is. Well, and somebody just said the whole "play it again, Sam" thing. When you go back and you watch the movie, apparently Rick never said "play it again, Sam" in Casablanca. But
isn't that a thing? I never saw all of Casablanca, but I seem to remember that being quoted a lot.
Yeah.
No, I thought I remember seeing that.
That's a very famous quote. Yeah.
He's standing there and he says, "Play it again, Sam." And just very, "Play it again, Sam," for me, or something like that.
So that makes me kind of wonder if as much as there could definitely be the alternate reality and stuff like that, you kind of wonder how long, what's the word? How long have they been, or how long has there been maybe possibly people mucking with us in order to really see how far that they could experiment with changing a lot of these things, or a lot of these you know.
I actually considered this, as well.
Yeah.
And everybody get your tinfoil hats on.
Yeah. But
So,
no, it's true. Like, that's what I
because, we talk
right?
about the government doing social experiments and things like that. There's a conspiracy that the whole COVID-19 thing was a big social experiment.
I believe that.
And that it was to see exactly what they could do, how far they could go to start controlling the masses, and what they would believe when they put stuff out on the internet, and all this stuff. And I would hope that that's not the case, but again, this is a theory. Yes, being able to take anything that's digital these days, anything you see on social media, anything that you see coming across the Fox News or CNN on your phones and stuff, is all controlled digitally and can be altered digitally, and they can tell you anything that they want. And it's kind of on you whether you believe what you're reading or not. I mean,
right.
you've seen political speeches where a news organization will go in and actually change a lot of what.
100%.
They'll edit things together so it makes it look like somebody said this.
Yeah.
And unless you actually watched it live, you wouldn't have been the wiser.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that stuff I started paying attention to, and I'm like, whoa, hey, hold on here. That's not how that went, because I'd seen it. So yeah, it's super plausible that this could be some weird, however, really creative way of screwing with us. But, and if that's the truth, could you just please put the monocle back on the Monopoly guy? I mean, really. I can never play the game again. It doesn't look right. So,
well, skeptical me always says, okay, well, you've heard of broken telephone, right? So maybe this is just a case of, broken telephone, where, this whole played again, Sam. Maybe it's broken telephone. I thought
it was a female that said that, and that I didn't think it was a male.
Yeah, no, I thought it was bogey.
I thought it was a female that said. I don't remember. I didn't ever watch the movie though, so for some reason I thought it was some blonde girl with curly hair. So that's my vague memory. So Casablanca wasn't a big movie for me. I was a little bit, just a smidgen before my time, but supposedly a classic.
It's a classic.
So apparently there's another one. I was trying to find it, but there's a Saw quote that gets messed up all the time too, apparently, where Jigsaw, and it's, is it, would you like to play a game?
Right.
You know that quote?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that sound right? I guess the quote is actually, I would like to play a game. So, yeah.
The thing is that that doesn't make any sense. Because he's talking to the participants of his little diabolical nonsense.
And I think the other one was like, let's play a game.
Let's play a game.
Let's play a game.
Let's play a game.
And the actual quote was like, I would like to play a game. And it's, and I kind of ran through it because I could hear the voice in my head, right? I could hear that, I would like to play a game, and it was weird, because that one got, again, the guys at the fire station, they were like, it doesn't seem right, but I was like, well, here it is. So I don't know what to tell you. It's just bizarre. So I'm curious, for our audience, if you are watching it now, watching it later, I'm curious to know what your Mandela Effect experiences are and things like that, and what they think it are. Are we in an alternate reality? Are we, slipping through cracks in space and time? Did the Hadron Collider actually rip a hole in our dimension? Is it aliens? Dun, I need a sound effect. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, it's super weird though. I just,
I know, because it screws with your mind. That's the thing. Because you always think, oh yeah, I know that. It's easy, right? It's easy. I remember that. But then when someone challenges that, it's like you go, okay, am I crazy? Kind of like when people come to us and go, yeah, I saw something weird. I must be crazy.
and some of it too, kind of like it is basic psychology as well. It's like, if I come up to you and I say, hey, the other day the sky was green, right? And if I ask you what color was the sky the other day, there's a big difference. One, I'm putting a suggestion in your mind, right? And the other one is definitely more open, where you get to tell me actually what you were thinking, not trying to repeat or affirm what I was thinking. And so there is something to that effect as well. So if if I say, hey, there was a cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom logo, right?
Right. Yeah.
Well, if I said there's no cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom logo, right?
Right.
I mean, see, it's just how it's
a lot of NLP kind of neuro-linguistic programming that, not only we can do ourselves, but has been shown in commercials and government and, all of that subliminal type of, behavior, right? Here's an interesting one for you. Is the sun yellow or white?
Yellow. In every picture I've ever drawn, the sun is yellow. Okay, so
right. Apparently, no, it's not white.
White?
Wow.
Show me a picture where the sun is white.
I do not have one because I'm arguing with my son about that still.
I'm Googling it right now.
Well, I mean, it makes sense when people say it's white hot. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
White hot. Yeah. But white hot. I mean, that they teach you when you're little in art class that you're supposed to do yellow sun. Right?
Gosh, darn it.
Right?
So Google says white. It's a common misconception that the sun is yellow or orange or even red. However, the sun is essentially all colors mixed together, which appear to our eyes as white.
There you go. Interesting.
Okay.
All
My
right.
whole life is a lie.
Everything is a lie, Trevor.
The crayons were a lie. Come on.
Crayons were a lie.
Crayons are a lie.
That's it. I'm going to sue all the schools that I went to for,
for making you color everything yellow.
I've learned absolutely nothing, apparently. This is crazy.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh.
That is great.
Yeah, Fruit Loops. All right, spell Fruit Loops for me. Can you?
Fruit Loops.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
FROOTLOOPS.
Is that a guess, or how did you know? Because I always thought it was FRUIT.
Really?
Yes. Yep.
I don't know. I seem to remember looking at the box and thinking it was funny because it was Fruit Loops.
Well, when I looked at because I looked at the picture side by side, and I really thought it was FRUITLOOPS. But no, you are correct. It is with the two O's in fruit, and the two O's are the cereal.
Yes. Yeah.
But it looks so weird. So
I'm a word person though. Like I love words. So again, with me, Flint, it was always Flint Stones. The Fruit Loops, but the Looney Tunes, that one gets.
That one got you. See, that one got me too, though. So don't feel bad. That one got me as well because I thought it was Tunes, TOONS too, right? So
me too.
Yeah, just Looney Tunes doesn't make any sense. I mean, let's just face it. That makes no sense.
I know this universe is stupid. Whatever reality and I just haven't got it figured out. They're idiots.
But Looney Tunes was never musical except for what were those singing?
Well, they called it merry melodies and stuff like that in there. But I mean, and there was always a lot of music in it and stuff. But again, I thought it was always the play on words, Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
because merry melodies and things like that. So
Oh, here's a good one. Okay, you said merry melodies. This is interesting because not long ago somebody said to me, was it Merry Merrie melodies or was it Merry? Good question. I don't know.
I have no idea.
That's a good question, right?
No idea.
Look at Trevor's face.
it's Merry, isn't it?
I don't know. Was it? Or was it Merrie?
Oh my gosh. Oh no.
There you go. There's another example for you.
So Sunny Love says talking about this stuff has made the weather very angry, Dad. Is that your child?
Yeah, it started a thunderstorm outside. It is Merrie. What
Was
the
it?
heck?
There you go. There's another one.
No way.
Mind blown. Trevor's mind is blown now.
Frick. Oh man. Ugh.
There's another one.
I'm getting dizzy.
I know.
Maybe that's where we just have to stay present and kind of just go, I don't care.
Yeah.
No. That's the problem. I think we've been far too relaxed for far too long. It's time to take a stand.
And discover what is going on with this.
Put it back. Monocle goes back. Cornucopia goes back. It's Merry. Okay.
And the madness.
People need to fix this crap now. I'm calling my legislatures and say
it's
enough's enough.
And sex in the city.
It's sex in the city.
In the city.
Sex and the city. That doesn't make any sense. Sex and the city. I mean,
no, it doesn't make any sense at all. That's weird.
Gosh.
Very bad.
Crazy. So yeah.
Merry melodies.
Oh my goodness. I never even knew that one. That one's gonna bug me for a while too.
Which one?
Merry melodies.
Crazy stuff. Well,
but it's interesting.
It is. It's.
I hope everybody else's head is as like pounding as much as mine now. So
that was fun.
Yeah.
This is why I watch shows on serial killers. It's just easier.
Yeah.
All is good now. All
is right.
All is right with the world now.
Right. Those I can understand. Again.
Oh no.
I mean, Thanks everybody for watching. Have an amazing week. Take care. And we will see you next Sunday. Same time, same place. And have a good one.